Today, Bryan and I are going to act as the judges and decide if these people are the assholes.
Our decisions are final and have consequences.
Am I the asshole for admitting to my son that I never wanted a child?
Wow.
Starting off with a heater. I have a 15-year-old son, Jacob. When I was 18, I married a classmate I was dating. We were stupid teenagers and I got pregnant. Our families were so disappointed that they demanded we give the baby up to someone so we can focus on our education. We didn't, and Jacob was about 6 months old when his dad died in a motorcycle crash. Jeez.
Oh my God.
About a year after I gave Jacob up to my great aunt, she legally adopted him, and my life got so much better. I finished up my education, and by the time I was 26, I became the manager at a club. When Jacob was 11, my great aunt was diagnosed with an illness, and it was determined she could no longer care for him. So, as per her wishes, I took Jacob back and began working nights so I could take care of him, even though I hated working nights. I never wanted to take somebody to basketball practice, drop off, and pick up a bunch of kids in a carpool, or have noisy Xbox games played through my apartment. But I do now and have sacrificed my entire existence for him. And here's the kicker. I actually enjoy it because Jacob was so great, and up until a year ago, I was even thinking this was a nice way to live. And then something changed. He got rude. Oh, puberty. Starts throwing the backpack when he gets home. Will throw away the lunch I made him. Will swear and he won't even hug me anymore. We had an argument yesterday because he started watching WWE real loud instead of doing his chores and woke me up way too early, and I got very upset. He said I wanted to give him away because I don't. I admitted that I never wanted to have him and he's not some toy I can toss away. But instead of thinking about what I said, he just started crying really badly. And this morning, he wouldn't even get out of bed and go to school. He just wouldn't stop hugging me and crying. I've called in sick for tonight, but I'm wondering if it was wrong to handle it how I did. One of my friends said she would have divorced her husband if he said that to their son. Jeez.
A doozy to start.
I mean, yeah. I think this is a pretty... You can't blame the kid for existing.
It's obviously very understandable where she's coming from, where you have this feeling of regret. She was very young, and then all of a sudden she has to take care of him when she had a taste of freedom after that, which is a bit, of an unorthodox way for most people when they have a kid. But there's one thing you can't do with a child, especially one that's going through puberty, which this kid obviously is, and that's sort of like stoop to their level. No matter how much you're upset, no matter how much you are struggling, one thing is you have to sort of, be above whatever level they're on maturity-wise to show them what they should be like. And by her saying she never wanted to have him, that's basically taking the barrier between a mom and her son and just putting them as two equals. Yeah. And in that way, it's really hard for, the kid to respect the mom in a situation like that.
No, that's true. I mean, and you can also not really blame her too much because her old boyfriend, she says I was pressured into having Jacob, even though I hated being pregnant. Like, it could have been really bad pressure and all that. So this isn't the life she wanted. And I mean, she was 18, so we can't blame her for being in this situation. But at this point, you just kind of have to, live your life and just be a good mom to him.
It honestly sucks, but in this case, I think, yes, she is the butt.
Let's read some comments. You never, ever tell your kid you never wanted them. Your son will never forget this. That is true. That is a really big thing, like the power of our words that we don't understand. If you just randomly, out of anger, out of stressfulness, told them, hey, you're a terrible singer, stop singing. Like, they're singing in the car, they're having a good time. They're never going to want to sing again. For the rest of their life, they're going to think they're a terrible singer. We don't realize the power that our words have on each other. You could barely remember something, but they might hold that with them for years.
Yeah, it feels like the general consensus with these is yes, they are. I mean, just looking at it.
Yeah, all right, well, on to the next one. That was depressing. This one's 32,000 likes. I think we got to do this one.
Let's do it.
Am I the asshole for getting my daughter a hotel room entirely for herself after her stepsisters made her sleep on the floor? My dad passed away 2 weeks ago. Me, my wife Candace, and our daughter Shiloh, and her stepsisters, 19 and 17, flew to my hometown to attend a funeral. After that, we got 2 hotel rooms, one for me and Candace, one for the girls. When I was in the room, I got a call from Shiloh at 11 p.m. crying and sounded like she was arguing with her stepsisters. I asked what the matter was, and she told me that her stepsisters insisted that she sleep on the floor. There was one large bed in the room, and there was enough space for all 3 girls to sleep on. I asked why, and she said she didn't know. I went to see the issue was and talked with the stepsisters about it. They kept talking but didn't really explain why they told her to sleep on the floor. They just shrugged and said, it's better this way. We're more comfortable this way. I told Shiloh to grab her things, and when one of my stepdaughters asked where we were going, I told her I was booking her a hotel room. They both looked upset but didn't say anything, and they must have called their mom because she was awake and I got back and started arguing with me about giving Shiloh an entire hotel room for herself. I explained why I did it, but she said I wasted money and that Shiloh could have sucked it up for one night on the floor. I called her unreasonable for saying this, but she told me that I showed the girls that I'm playing favorites and made my stepdaughter share a room while I gave my daughter an entire room for herself. We went home and Candace is still bringing it up, saying I mishandled this. She even pointed out how my stepdaughters are upset since they're not speaking to me. ETA, it was Candace who got the room for the 5 girls as did not stir any drama and save money. She was in charge of the hotel reservation since I was emotionally distressed. Also, Candace did not expect Shiloh to sleep on the floor. She wanted all 3 girls to share the bed. And also, I've known the stepdaughters since they were little. We're pretty much family, and Candace is a SAHM. I don't know what that means, but I give her full access to my money since this stuff was already discussed beforehand. Pretty much everything was.
Ooh,
okay.
This is a juicy case.
For my opinion, I feel like you could have done the hotel room a little bit better. Your wife could have done the hotel room a little bit better. Probably the best way to organize it would have been, I don't know, that's kind of a hard one. If you could get 2 of like full beds maybe, or if you could get a hotel room where there's one of the pull-out couches. But for him, I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing. It was literally for a night. And like, did the stepsisters want everyone to have their own room when who cares when you're sharing a room? I've shared rooms where it's 4 guys in one room with 2 beds. It sucked.
Heck yeah, brother.
It was bad. But like, and by the time you're 19, I mean, I don't know who still worries about that kind of stuff. I can understand all 3 of them not wanting to share one bed. That would probably suck a lot, and if that was the case, then that is all on the mom. It's just a sticky situation. I don't think your wife's necessarily wrong, but at the same time, I mean, they're 19 and 17. Like, how do you still having this drama?
Yeah, that's a bit sort of played out by that. Like, at 19, you're a college kid. Like, you can be a bit more mature about the situation than what they were saying. It's better this way. We are more comfortable this way. Like, why the youngest daughter, right? If they're all equals, why would you make the youngest sleep? Why not the oldest? Take some responsibility there.
See, this is just a tricky family situation, and I wonder if there's more information we're not getting. I don't know. I think if I was not... I just don't really like them.
All right, everyone is the asshole here.
Yeah, I think the dad tried his best, but I guess he could have asked his wife and been like, hey, this is what's going on.
You do want to kind of bring in the wife and sort of have it be a team effort there. What I will say for the dad's perspective is his dad passed away, and they flew to the hometown to attend a funeral. The guy in the situation, he's definitely feeling a lot of emotions here, right? And so he's probably just looking for what's the simplest solution. Worrying about my dad passing away. I'm not worried about like these kids arguing, right?
Yeah,
Let's
I
just
wasn't
get a
even
hotel
thinking
room.
about that.
Like for him, it's just like what's gonna get people satisfied. They both all want to sleep in a bed. Okay, I'll get somebody else a bed. I'd side on the side of he is not the asshole in this situation though.
No, I definitely have to agree now. I wasn't even thinking about the funeral part. I kind of forgot about that. What I'm getting is this is your stepdaughters were trying to live up a Disney depiction of stepsisters and were shocked when they couldn't bully her into getting what they want. What's extra gross is they didn't come back from Shiloh's grandparents' funeral. Oh, they did it coming back from Shiloh's grandparents' funeral. Talk about cruel. You're definitely not the asshole, but also, what's wrong with Candace if she sees this as playing favorites? Her daughters tried to make yours sleep on the floor for fun. Sounds like the apple don't fall far from the tree. Have you pointed out your daughter is also upset of this situation because she is playing favorites?
That's a good point, because it definitely seemed like Candace was not being empathetic towards Shiloh's feelings at all.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty open and shut case.
Okay, we've got 2 easy cases. I want to see one where we disagree. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That one's putting spider pics. What are you, J. Jonah Jameson?
Am I the asshole for putting spider pics all over my house so my in-laws stop calling everything a black widow?
What?
My wife's parents moved in with us last year. We see maybe 2 to 3 spiders a year, and that's it. Now, after they moved in, to hear them talk, you'd think my house is in the middle of Mirkwood. I don't know where that is. It all started this past summer when my in-laws came in from my screened-in back porch and went out about seeing a black widow across the street. I go out there with jars in hands to put said black widow in my spider relocation program. It was an orb weaver. 2 more times during the summer, they saw an orb weaver on the porch or in the tool shed and came to get me saying it was a black widow. My wife started doing the same thing. I told them what a black widow looks like and that they're rarely, if ever, seen in our area. Now this winter, there have been more spiders on the back porch because poor things want to get warm too. 1 or 2 got into the house. My mother-in-law has handed me a bag before and told me to be careful because she saw a black widow jump into it. It was a wolf spider. Oh god, aren't wolf spiders like really big?
That's a full-on tarantula. This like thing can get to the size of your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I know the black widow is like a lot worse, but like these are some, I don't know, man. I don't want to see these spiders around. See, this is why I'm happy where I live. We do not have that big of spiders.
We don't have wolf spiders, that's for sure.
Last week, my father-in-law and wife asked me to get rid of the black widow out of the sink. Another wolf spider. I've been pretty fed up with all the false calls and dealing with occasional outdoor spiders and them acting like it's life or death. None of them are arachnophobic, so I printed out 2 sheets of paper. One had pics of the 3 most common spiders to see around here, and I put, if it looks like that, let it chill. Don't call Spideracus.
Spartacus? Is that...
Okay.
That doesn't even make sense. Spartacus is about like some dude that was led a revolt. What?
He's trying, okay? The second sheet I put was a blown up picture of a black widow, and I highlighted features and captioned, this is what a black widow looks like. You may proceed to call. How do you even say it like this? Spideracus. It just doesn't sound good. I put them all over my back porch, tool shed, and some in the closet and under the sink. My wife was not impressed and took them all down. My wife got mad because I was insulting their intelligence and belittling their parents. I just wanted them to stop getting me for every spider sighting that wasn't danger. And since they never listened to the descriptions, I tried a different approach. Am I the asshole, Reddit? All right, 1 second. I want to look up what a wolf spider looks like.
Don't do it. It's scary.
Okay, should I not?
No, you can't.
I'm scared now.
You got it for the context.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Oh my gosh.
Guess you're not Spideracus. Alright, with this one, I don't think the dude's an asshole at all. Like, he's just trolling his family, which apparently is not very smart. I'm sorry, like, the wife getting mad that I'm insulting her intelligence. This has happened multiple times. At some point, you gotta realize, like, imagine if it's just somebody crying wolf every single time. And, like, you're the protector of the house, and you have to, like, run to make sure that no one's in danger. And it's nothing, right? This isn't some trivial thing that they're doing. They're either intentionally or they're just very thick-skulled about the situation. Dude is in the right here, not the asshole.
You know, Bryan, I actually disagree with you on this one. Because I think there's some missing context. I think that this guy is painting himself in the best light. Okay. He says, my mother-in-law told me to be careful. She saw a black widow. It was a wolf spider. Now, look, even if you're not arachnophobic, I feel like seeing a wolf spider is scary. I think the missing context that this guy's not giving us, if it's anything else, he just won't deal with it. I feel like they've had to resort to basically saying everything is a black widow because they're tired of these gigantic spiders just crawling through their house. And
now, okay, I'll let you finish.
Even though I admit, you know, probably not the best thing to do. I feel like they have a problem. They should probably just get their, I think that this guy is a spider lover. He seems like the biggest spider lover in the world, while most people are not big spider lovers. I don't know. I feel like it's more so that they're just fed up with him being like, oh, that's not a big deal. It's just a wolf spider, man. We're gonna leave it at the house. I think that might be what's going on.
See, the issue I have with that is that if they're tired of the spiders, then just take them out themselves, right? Why does he have to handle each of them? Now, where you might be right is with he mentions here, my spider relocation program. Geez, if he is insistent on not killing these spiders or like not even like laying a finger on it, then if you're the one it's your house and you really want every spider to be moved, then yes, you have to be the one that moves it if people aren't comfortable with that, right? If you just like say like, yeah, just take care of it yourself, I don't care how you do it, right? Kill it, move it, whatever, then I get it. But if he's so spider loving that he like won't even want like a wolf spider killed that's in the house, which I would definitely do, even though I love spiders and don't kill like small ones I see, I kill a wolf spider.
Bryan, let me hold that. I don't think you kill. I think it's killing you. I think you try to stomp on it, it lifts up your foot. It's like, no. That slams you on the ground SpongeBob style. I don't necessarily think they're assholes for this because they just might not like seeing wolf spiders. But I guess we would need to know more. This is the funniest possible way you could have handled this.
Agreed.
Not looking good for me. Not looking good for me. I think your wife should have left the pictures up if her parents refused to go educate themselves on what black widows actually look like. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see where it's not the asshole. I feel like this guy just loves spiders. Maybe his family doesn't. All right, let's do one more. Am I the asshole for moving my son into a rental apartment after finding out that his dad's been canceling his job applications?
Whoa.
My son, Aiden, 23, moved back in with us upon graduating college as my husband wanted. My husband's original plan was to have Aiden live with us for free, but stay home and help with his disabled younger brother. Aiden started complaining about needing money and wanted to find a job. My husband was against this and even offered to double his allowance, but Aiden was growing tired of staying at home. So he began looking for jobs here and there for a year, but none of his job applications came through. He just applied and they never got back to him. We were confused about this until recently. I found out that my husband was behind all the job applications being canceled.
Yeah, no, let's keep going. I have a very clear understanding of how I feel about this, but let's keep going.
He'd wait till Aiden applies and then proceeds to cancel the application by impersonating him and using his email. I blew up at him for this, but his justification is that he's just trying to make sure our younger son is cared for by Aiden, and said that Aiden has been a big help and him getting a job will affect his care for his brother. I went ahead and rented an apartment for Aiden and told him to stay there till he finds a job and starts paying for it himself. Aiden was hurt upon knowing what his dad did. My husband was livid when he found out. He called me unhinged and said I was separating the boys and teaching Aiden to become selfish and care more about the job than family. He also said it was a huge decision for me to rent an apartment without even running it by him. He's been giving me hell about it and calling me a terrible mother for encouraging Aiden to be selfish and self-centered. He said I needed to see and understand why he did what he did. Edit. A few things to mention. My husband says that since he and I have health issues, we could use Aiden's help. When I suggested outside help, my husband refused, saying he won't ask anything from anybody and that his son is his problem and nobody else's. I use money from our joint account to pay for the rental apartment. My husband said it was wrong and that it was a major waste of money since we deal with medical bills constantly. So,
a lot to unpack there.
You want to go first, Bryan?
If there's anybody that's the asshole here, it's the husband. What is going on? He's treating his son like a tool, right? Like he's 23 years old and wants to live his own life, and his father went behind everybody's back to cancel his job applications. That's so far out of bounds of what is okay that basically nullifies any sort of step that anyone is taking here. The son, the mom or dad, the other dad, anyone else is sort of in the right for just trying to work around this maniac of a father. Who just has apparently decided that he owns his kid for life. That's what he's saying, is that I own you for life. I'll pay you whatever you want, but I own you. You can't leave.
I think one thing that he's also not considering is employers are not great people, all right? They're gonna see if your son Aiden does decide to take 3 years off maybe to help with the brother, which I can understand why you'd want help, but yeah, if you're not gonna talk to him, then it's messed up. But anyways, employers, a lot of times they're not very good people, and they see a 3-year gap in his resume. Right out of college, he didn't get a job. He hasn't been doing anything. I don't know. I think it's gonna be harder for him to get a job in the future because I don't think that he can just take care of you, your husband, and his younger brother for his entire life. He's got to go out on his own at some point. The apartment was interesting. I think it was probably a good idea to do because Aiden deserves to not have his job applications be thrown away. I can understand kind of if they are low on money, dealing with medical bills and stuff like that. But at the same time, I mean, the dad created the problem. The dad needs to understand that He created a terrible problem. He's doing something against someone else's will. He did not ask Aiden if he wants to do this. He didn't tell anybody. He just said, hey, I'm gonna invade your privacy, go through your emails, and make sure that you can't get a job that you wanted, a job that you graduated college to do.
It'd be one thing if the mom tried to just do this behind everybody's back, like Aiden was sort of on the fence on leaving and she just sort of forced the issue, but it seems clearly this is what Aiden wants, right? Like, he mentioned multiple times he needs money, he wants to find the job. It's an easy case.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cut and dry. Your husband is abusive to Aiden and honestly creepy in his manipulations and his insistence on Aiden being Dobby, the house elf. I think it's Dobby.
It's Dobby.
Yeah, I think this one's easy. Let's do one more, Bryan, because I did notice this. Let's go to the most controversial.
Oh, there we go. So they're cross-posted onto this place.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Come on, man.
Am I the asshole for naming the cat who I rescued from the middle of the road speed bump and upsetting my stepdaughter? I rescued a 9-week-old kitten from the middle of a busy street. After a trip to the vet for assessment and chip scanning and a thorough search of local social media, we decided to keep him. By we, I mean I, my wife, and stepdaughter were out of town to see her family.
Also just called their mother-in-law Satan.
Yeah, I didn't go because one, my mother-in-law is actually Satan, and two, I couldn't get enough time off. Anyways, they approve of the adoption via telephone and left it up to me to decide his name. I picked Speed Bump to be his name because he almost became a speed bump before I rescued him. However, upon learning this name and why I picked it, my stepdaughter burst into tears and told me that was a horrible name. She wants to name him something different, and I am considering surrendering at this point, even though his pet license and microchip all say Speed Bump. Even my wife agrees the name was a poor choice, and now whenever we say the kitten's name, we will have to think about him getting run over. Edit. I suggested skid mark as an alternative, and now my stepdaughter won't speak to me. I can see that this pushes into the asshole territory.
All right.
So, a little bit of a fun thing. Back when I was a kid, my parents actually rescued a dog off of the street. We weren't able to find that she had any owners. And we named her Lucky because, we were lucky to find her, and she was lucky that, she didn't get hit by a car because she was literally in the middle of the streets. My family and this family went a little bit different on how we decided to name the animal.
It's a little bit more vague on yours.
But I don't think you're necessarily an asshole for picking it at the first part. But then once you found out that it upset your stepdaughter, I feel like, yeah, it's not. You say, oh, his pet license and microchip all say Speed Bump. Who cares? It's what you call him. Yeah. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think once you learn that your stepdaughter was so upset about this, it's a very easy thing. You've had it for a couple days. You can just be like, hey, yeah, all right, we're changing it. I don't know why you would suggest skid mark. That is,
That's
you don't seem
down.
like the nicest person in the world.
Yeah.
What about you, Bryan?
I mean, I think this dude is the asshole. He made his daughter cry, which is never a good thing. And then suggesting, it should be very cut and dry. As soon as there's pushback on it, it's be like, okay, we can name him something. I'm kidding. And it'd be like a bad joke, a funny joke, but a bad joke. And it's like, you just move on, you name him Furball or something, right? But they even have any pushback on keeping the name Speed Bump for any reason. When they're both against it, that's when he's approaching the territory. So no, the naming of it isn't bad. It's not good, but the doubling down is where the issue is.
Yeah, Speed Bump is the kind of name where this would be like a fraternity finds a cat and they go, oh, this is our new frat's cat. Let's name it Speed Bump.
Exactly.
I kind of get the humor. I do get the humor, but yeah.
Oh, I think it's hilarious, yeah.
It's not where your stepdaughter is going to want to call him for the rest of his life. Let's see if people agree with us. Nah, That name is hilarious. Horribly inappropriate, but hilarious. You knew it was inappropriate, so relent to calling him Lucky. Hey, that's what we did.
Wow, that's like very just coincidental that you just said the story and then it's there. Yeah, there you go. Okay, you had your joke. Now give the kid a name that doesn't upset the child.
Yeah. All right, that was an interesting time, Brian.
Very interesting, very fun.
Let us know if we should do this or maybe some other Reddits in the future. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.